Your brain thinks a socially awkward moment is a life-threatening emergency. It's a glitch in your ancient biology that we call social fear. But today, we're not just talking about the science, we're gonna fix it. And I've designed 3 specific experiments to help you debug that alarm system and reclaim your natural charisma. Here are the fears that we're tackling. An experiment for the fear of expectations, the fear of rejection, and the fear of judgment. And I'll give you a 4th bonus experiment, which was helpful for me when I started on my path to be more socially confident. In one of our recent videos about social fear, we learned that social rejection triggers the same brain regions as physical pain. Your ancient brain alarm is trying to protect you from being kicked out of the tribe. But in 2026, that alarm is very much outdated. To recalibrate it, we need to use the Kai loop: know, act, and improve. And if you want the background on the knowing part, watch that video. But this video is all about turning that knowledge into action with our little experiments. But before we get into the first experiment, what's one social fear that you're looking to overcome? Drop it in the comments. The first experiment is simple, but it's uncomfortable. It's called the intentional pause. Next time you're at a checkout or ordering coffee, wait exactly 3 seconds before you say a word. Just stand there, breathe, and exist. Why do this? Because your brain thinks that if you aren't immediately useful or entertaining, you're a burden to the tribe. I thought the same way when I was starting my journey to be more social. I'm a bit of an overthinker, so I had to plan this whole elaborate routine just for a 3-second pause. I was at a Starbucks and waited until there were less people ordering, and it was my turn to order, and I looked at the barista and counted for 1,000. I looked at the menu and counted for 1,000. I looked back at the barista for 1,000, and then I ordered. It was all good. For another elaborate instance, I would look at them and raise my finger with my mouth slightly open as if I was thinking and about to talk, and I counted in my head 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. But the good part, after doing a bunch of these little experiments, I started getting more confident with silence. And by surviving those 3 seconds of silence, you're teaching your alarm system that awkward doesn't actually mean danger. And while silence might be uncomfortable at first, you might actually start looking for that feeling of discomfort when you realize that discomfort is often tied to growth. Now, experiment 2 moves from silence to expression, and I call it the minor opinion. You want to find a low-stakes topic, like a movie everyone loves or a popular food item, and share a different perspective. Something like, well, actually, I think that movie was a bit overrated. Or, to be honest, I think that ramen as a category of food isn't anything special. Now, why do this? We often people please because our ancient brains fear that disagreement leads to exile. Now, earlier in my career, I traveled a lot as a consultant, and we would go out to tons of restaurants and sample many different foods. But when I was asked about what I thought of the food, one of the other consultants actually mentioned, "Lukey, you always just say the food is good or fine or not bad. Have you ever had a meal with us that was fantastic or horrible?" And he helped me realize that it was actually okay to have an opinion. And just because you think differently than someone else doesn't mean that they're wrong. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong either. It's just a difference in opinion. You like chocolate, they like vanilla. You like chicken, they're vegetarian. Both opinions can coexist. This experiment is helpful because it proves to you that you can have a different opinion and still be part of the group. It builds the part of your brain by showing you that your identity is safe even when you disagree. And finally, one of the most simple recalibrations, the eye contact smile. As you walk down the street, make eye contact with 3 strangers and give them a small nod or a smile. And that's it. Now, why do this? Well, your social fear wants you to believe that every stranger is a potential critic or a predator. After all, Mom and dad told you growing up not to talk to strangers, right? And yes, make sure you're doing it in an appropriate context. Don't do it while walking through a sketchy part of town or getting home on the subway late at night. But if you're in a generally safe area with a bunch of people, look for an opportunity to catch someone's eye. When you do a quick smile and a nod, then you can just get back to what you were doing. When I started with this experiment, I realized how many people are not even looking and paying attention. Most people are on their phones or they have their heads down walking to wherever that they need to go. But there are a few people who do look up and are often looking for some human connection. One of the early times I did this, I ended up coincidentally standing behind one of the people I smiled and nodded at. They asked if we knew each other, and I said, I don't think so. Then they asked why I smiled at them, and I said, for whatever reason, I try to smile at everyone. And I shared about the experiment that I was doing. They mentioned how much they appreciated the small gesture of a smile and shared a quote that their mom had taught them. Whatever the weather, always bring the sunshine, which I found to be an interesting philosophy to consider. Now, this experiment gathers real-world data that most people are neutral or friendly. You're literally rewiring your scouting report that your brain uses to scan for threats. As Einstein said, the most important decision is whether we believe we're in a friendly or a hostile universe. And I choose friendly. What about you? And for the bonus experiment, wear crazy underwear or socks. Yup, you heard me. My underwear used to be plain black, blue, or gray. Then I started to pick bright colors and fun patterns. When I first put them on, my brain was on high alert. What will people think? But the reality is that no one regularly sees my underwear. So that helped me get used to that feeling that it's all in my head. Then I moved to colorful socks. Socks are mostly hidden, but once in a while, people can see them as you're working or moving. I bought character socks with Dragon Ball Z, and if you know the anime, Goku is always in bright orange and Piccolo is always in green. And if someone sees my socks, then I just acknowledge it. Yep, I started wearing crazy socks to improve my confidence. And I turned that into a conversation. And if that still scares you, then blame me. Say something like, I was watching the soft skills guy on YouTube and he challenged me to wear crazy socks to improve my social confidence. And you know what? It's working. Now, these small experiments can do wonders for your social confidence. You have the knowledge, but with the Kai loop, knowledge, action, and improvement, it isn't finished until you improve. And how do you improve? Well, to be better at a thing, you do more of the thing. So all you need to do is to do these exercises again and again. And as you do them, you'll find that the alarm starts to quiet down, all the way down to the point where you don't even hear it anymore. And when that happens, you'll find that you're more socially confident. And after you try one of these experiments, sit for a moment and acknowledge, I did the thing and I'm still safe. That's how you recalibrate the alarm for good. And if you need help with mastering your mindset, click here, and YouTube has this video for you next. And if you found this helpful, like and subscribe, and until next time, be focused and stay inspired.